Okay, let's not get stuck there, because that's really quite a technical thing. We just accept that. Okay, okay, who's going to put their hand up and say, what are the 5 kinds of foodstuffs? Just put your hand up if you know. Oh, not what are the 5 kinds? What is referred to is the 5 kinds of foodstuff in Hariḥ Nama Krishna. Put up your hand. Nobody knows. You know. Kali Kadamba, you know.
Isn't that
Pada Renu. Tara Pada Renu. Divya Shakti Dandabat. Manamohini, Bill and Samsung. Oh, Mr. Samsung has joined us. Very good. Anyway, it's the Pada Renu, the dust of the Pada, of the feet. This was the Pada, was it? Pada Renu, Panchagras. The foot dust of the Vaishnavas is my 6 kinds of foodstuffs. In fact, isn't it in that verse? The foot dust of the 6 Goswamis. Somebody pop in and tell me when I say something wrong. Now I have to go back to the verse because I'm from Kali Yuga. I am from Kali Yuga. Just see. So tell me, just while I'm finding this, which I've got right now.
the Holy Lotus?
Asabara, yeah, there, a choi gosai jar mui tara das. Tasabara padda renu mora pancha gras. And this is saying these 6 Goswamis, I am prayed to be their servant. And that all of their pada renu, the foot dust, the renu of the pada, mora pancha gras, are my 5 kinds of foodstuffs. So this is what we were covering last week. Yes, Chinmoy Devu, you were saying.
No, you beat me to it. I was going to say the same thing.
Oh, okay. All right, so this is last week. So now, okay, from last week, now everybody knows now what you're singing when you chant Hariḥ Nama Krishna, correct? Nrsimha Chaitanya Prabhu, you do have to arrange some light in front of your face so we can have your darshan and not your silhouette. All right, so I have a question. What would you like to hear like to discuss this week? Oh, I remember what we had last time. We asked Nrsimha Chaitanya Prabhu, who is now a silhouette, and is now manifesting his form. We asked Nrsimha Chaitanya Prabhu about the verse, right? tṛṇād sunīcena taror sahiṣṇunā. And then after this, and we said, oh, maybe you can give a talk first instead of me being the one who's going to say something. Then he and I, we talked after the BBBC, the Back to Basics. And by Nrsimha Chaitanya Prabhu's suggestion was that we can ask the devotees, this is a verse that we really understand is one of the very foundations of our life, of the conduct of our life, the conduct of our mentality. And so to ask you, each of us who are in the room together in front of the deities, to ask each of you some insight to yourself that how this verse, how to apply it, or what result we've got by doing it, but in this way, to put out into the assembly. So please give your insights, because we know it is a jewel, and Gurudev has shown this jewel, and every time he says it, it's fresh, and shown this gem in different ways. But we all have particular parts of how Gurudev has shown it, or maybe something, or the penny dropped about something in our own lives. And so to discuss a little bit about this tṛṇād sunīchena verse. So Maybe Nrsimha Chaitanya Prabhu, I could first ask you, tṛṇād api sunīcena taror sahiṣṇunā, amāninā, mānadena, kīrtanīyaḥ sadā hariḥ. Please give some feedback. Start us off.
Well,
You can be the calf to draw the milk from the cow.
I think just to clarify, I think we hadn't decided on any particular verse. Of course, this one is a good one to start. My idea, I was just saying that we can choose basic verses or fundamental verses that everyone should know or be familiar with, and then take turns just, giving our either insight or appreciation or anything we heard about them that gave it more detail or just more clarification. And then that way everyone can share on these basics, but they're really not basic because they always have new meaning and new relevance. But of course, this verse is probably the natural one to start with. So that being said, I think what comes to mind for me is that the notion of either trying to be humble, tolerant, whatever, give honor to others. These are things that don't necessarily come naturally to us or to the ego in general. People want to be the center of attention. They want to be the best. They want to feel better than other people. These are like natural inclinations that we all have. And so to hear that advice that's telling us to go in the opposite direction or to try to respond different than what our knee-jerk reaction would be, it can feel like a loss in a sense that if I always want to be the center of attention and then someone else cuts me off or gets the credit or something, there's a part of me that's like, hey, how come I didn't, whatever. And so if we have appreciation for this verse, or if we value that advice coming from the Guru Varga, from Mahaprabhu, then we can start to adjust our sensibilities and our values. And so when things happen in the world that would normally rub our ego the wrong way, and we would just feel them as a loss or as a disturbance, if we have a different type of value system and faith and regard for that advice, then when we don't try to make ourselves the center of attention or compete with others for recognition or something like that, we'll be able to start to appreciate that not as a loss, but as a type of progress or a type of cultivation that is fruitful. So the same experience can register with us differently, but when we remember this advice, then things that would normally rub our ego the wrong way, we can start to view them in a different way or start to conduct ourselves in a different way, that what the ego can only understand as a loss starts to feel like progress or stability or something that we value, because we're pursuing according to the standards and ideals of our Guru Varga. We're trying to meet their standards as opposed to what the world considers normal, or what our ego and desires always try to convince us is the main thing to strive for. So that's my feeling about that verse. It's like opening savings account. When we're kids and we have a checking account, the checking account is where all the fun happens, where we spend money. And putting money in a savings account feels like a loss for a kid. It's like, well, that's the money I can't spend. But then as you grow up, you realize like, oh, my savings account is the stable thing. That's the safety thing. So we open a savings account for this verse. And when we put humility or tolerance into it, instead of feeling like a loss, after time, we'll be like, oh, this has given me so much stability and healthy adjustment. I don't have to rush into every conflict for the sake of my ego, and it starts to pay off in the long run. So that's my insight on that.
Sorry, I was giving some feedback, but only my mouth was moving because I was mute. Anyway, okay, very good. So let us make our bank account not our children's bank account for spending, but our sober bank account for investing. And actually, you were a very good person to speak about this verse. Maybe we didn't decide this verse together. Maybe it was me who thought, oh, Nrsimha Chaitanya, what verse is very familiar to us and what verse is he a good example of? So I can also add a little thing that when we see a good example of this verse, then we have something to also live up to. So we must see, oh yeah, there are those qualities. Okay, who's going to volunteer something? Dikshavati, sorry, Divya Shakti Devi Dasi. I know, I'm a monster. I know it already. Would you like to say something? But I don't think we can hear you. Say a word.
Your audio's not working, Divya.
No, we cannot hear you.
You haven't connected your audio. It doesn't show a mic option.
Okay, just then give us a symbol of humility, tolerance, and giving honor to others. Give us a facial expression. You're from the theater, you can do that. Oh, now you stood still.
Now there's her facial expression.
All right, okay, so let's come back to Divi. She's having a couple of problems there. Any volunteer? Jai Gauranga Prabhu has gone to bed by the looks of things.
I've been very active today. Lots of hiking, lots of running, just really kind of exhausted.
Oh, well, that sounds good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jai.
Okay, Prabhu. No problem. Anybody like to mention something? Govinda Nandini Didi.
If I could maybe ask a question on the subject of humility and everything, sort of tying back into I think it was like the first or second time we all gathered here, we were discussing chastity to the teachings of our gurus, chastity to our gurus, and not hearing from others.
Yes.
Sometimes when preaching, people are very enthusiastic to share their ideas and things that have given them inspiration. And I was wondering how to balance being humble and respectful as well as staying chaste to only hearing from our gurus in that kind of situation.
Okay, remember why we are with them, that we're with them to give association. But if we just like dogmatically say something and they don't get any chance to give some of their own feedback, then first is they're probably going to think, oh, they're fanatic, they won't even listen to what I have to say. So we have to make them like a good receiver. They have to be able to receive something from us. So if we are dogmatic, then it's not going to be so helpful. And another thing is that by letting them express something of their feelings, it helps us understand, as they say in America, where they're at. And so that can then help us to adjust what we say to them according to their mood. So it's not that we are going to somebody that we're trying to explain about Krishna consciousness, and hearing from them in the sense of hearing from them guidance. We're hearing from them so that we will be friendly with them, and so that then they will be more inclined to hear something from us, not just block us out. And two, that we will get some idea where their mind is at, or where their mentality and their interest or whatever it may be, and we can then perhaps, hopefully, be more appropriate in what we say to them. So that's my immediate thought. And others can also mention something, but it's a question of giving association, not taking association.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
I'm making a little advancement.
In your digital journey.
Yeah, right.
But Divya, this digital journey takes us to Goloka Vrindavan, because it is Sadhu Sangha, and it is for the pleasure of Gurudev and Guru Maharaj. So good you make advancement on your digital journey. But now you muted
And now
yourself.
she's lost her advancement.
Oh yeah. A little obstacle on the way has to be overcome. She'll be stronger for it afterwards.
My video stopped, but I'm unmuted. Anyway, you can hear me.
Yes.
All I was going to say, actually, David Sheesh Prabhu, he spoke on this verse today. And I have to take these earplugs off because I'm getting a feedback on myself. And he said the main thing is to tolerate. If you can tolerate everything, if you can tolerate, then you will get everything. He said, and when you feel you can't tolerate anymore, then tolerate more, and you will get it all. He said, you can fake all the other things, and we've heard this before, all of us have, but we can't fake tolerance, you know? And so I think tolerating is a very difficult one for me, and I think for many of us. Sometimes I would think that if I tolerate so much, it makes my heart hard and it makes me angry. But if I just try to remember, you know, Gurudev and why I'm doing this, and this verse, he has quoted it so much, and there must be a reason. It's probably the main thing that we need to work on in the material world, you know, for the ego and everything. And so I'm just trying to work on tolerance, because I have a very difficult time tolerating things. I get angry really easy. And so I think we need to all try to practice more tolerance. And humility is a symptom of the soul. So it's natural to be humble. So if we can always remember that, it's a natural thing to be humble, then that's beautiful too. So that should become easier the more we progress in our spiritual life. And giving honor to others. What did he say about giving honor to others? He said, there's some cheating propensity in that, you know. Oh, you were so this, you were so that, or you want something in return or something like that. So we just have to pray to be genuine in our endeavor to please Gurudev, and you know, just try to remember these things: humility, tolerance, giving honor to others. So, and not expecting anything in return. So we shouldn't want to expect anything in return, like be glorified, because everything belongs to Krishna. Everything is for him, and it's for him alone. Nothing is for us. And that's another thing that he said today. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, we're hearing you.
Really? Did I make any sense?
You made a lot of sense.
Huh?
Yes, you made a lot of sense.
Okay. So anyway, that's a few things that I had to say today about humility, tolerance, and giving honor to others, you know, so. Anyway,
Okay.
I just pray that I can get free from anger. I get frustrated when things don't go my way, you know, and it's not for me, it's for him. He's the supreme controller. You know, so I have to always remember that and always know he's in the background of everything. So that's important to remember. Not
All
to
right.
get frustrated.
So tolerance.
There, can you see me? Can you hear me?
I can see you, I can hear you. Oh, it's not your
Okay.
finger. That's your danda behind you, right?
No, that's my bedpost.
Oh, I thought it was your
Anyway,
danda.
it's all good. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Chinmoy. Jagaranga, I don't know where he went. He's laying down somewhere.
Lying down.
Doya.
Hey, Dhanavad, Divya Shakti.
But my volume won't go up higher.
I'm sorry. We apologize. Your volume won't go higher.
It was high for a while, but
Okay, Divya, very good. So tolerance is the main thing, and we shall try and try and try. Anybody like to give something? Maybe Kelly would like to. Let's give her a chance because she's very quiet always. So we can invite her to make a squeak for us. But you have Kelly Kadamba, can you hear us? Would you like to say something?
Yes, sorry. It's just it muted for me for a minute and I couldn't hear what you said. Well, I was thinking about when Vishaka Didi was here last year, she was talking about tolerance and how we need to tolerate, but with affection. That this was a really important part of it, not just to grit our teeth and kind of harden up and just tolerate, but actually try to, with affection, tolerate. And I guess, you know, my understanding of that, oh, here comes Abhinavasunda back, is that if we, like Gurudev is saying, if we actually can see the inspired side of the devotee or trying to appreciate, try and find the good qualities in anybody, then and focus on that, then tolerance is something different. We're not just tolerating, we're actually from our hearts appreciating their attempt that they're making or the obstacles they're trying to overcome or all the other good aspects in their nature or behavior. And tolerance then is kind of a byproduct. It's natural. It's not something that we need to artificially create because we're actually having some affection for them. And, you know, Gurudev was the supreme example of that. You know, and he always said, like, we should, as I said, we should try to see the inspired side of each other and just focus upon that. And it's natural. And Gurudev's always reminding us, it's natural. Krishna consciousness, the whole practice, it's natural. Like sometimes we feel like we have to work so hard to overcome, or myself, so many ugly things. But if we actually, practicing with affection, then it kind of, then we naturally feel humble because we're appreciating, ooh, something happened. Am I still here? Yeah. We naturally feel humble because we are humbled in the presence of these incredible Vaishnavas in front of us and their attempt and what they're offering and their sacrifice. And anyway, that's my thoughts for the minute. Abhinava, do you want to say something? Come back. Okay. So, but I've lost, I don't know what's happening here. My screen has changed and can you hear me? Can you have a look at this?
Maharaj is playing with certain aspects.
Oh, now it's back. Okay.
And Maharaj is also muted.
Now I'm speaking. But now do you see me or do you see a screen? Because I thought I was sharing a screen with the word for word of tolerance.
You were.
But I'm not now. I'm a monster. Anyway, so Kelly's given us tolerance and humility with affection. Chinmoy Dev, Dayamoy Devidasi.
Maharaj, I was kind of a question too, because like the holy name where there's no rules or regulations, You can chant at any time. It seems like these principles too, you can practice at any time, even if you're in quarantine. If you lost your connection with the temple or your seva or something like that, these principles can be practiced anywhere. And I know there's the 3 things that come to attack us: the environment, others, and your mind. And I'm kind of wondering, how does tṛṇād sunīchena work with your mind?
It is the mind, isn't it? And actually, we have to conquer the mind with the intelligence. And how to do that? We need to get good advice for the intelligence. The intelligence has to discriminate. And you know, we've discussed this verse sometimes, and in like a public gathering, and then you get somebody put up their hand and they object to this, humility, tolerance, giving honor to it. They object. There are people who say, no, that's not right. People will step all over you. You have to be like this. And so if we can recognize the good advice, and ideally, I mean, if we recognize the advisor who is giving advice, and then we're getting good advice, the intelligent, he may want to be arrogant and to be reactionary, but that's the mind. And then the intelligence comes and says, no, because we have heard from Guru Maharaj and those who heard from Guru Maharaj, we've heard that Guru Maharaj said, and we have heard from Guru Maharaj, no good ever came from anger. You know, so when we can get some proper guide and then hear their guidance, the intelligence, if it is fortunate, recognize, oh, I'm getting good advice. Then the mind, which is a crazy thing, the mind is suffering 6 kinds of torments, which maybe we need to relearn because I can't immediately remember them, but madness, delusion, and maybe illusion are some of them. Lust, greed, anger, and madness. Nrsimha Chaitanya, you know all these, don't you? I mean, I don't mean you know them. I mean, you know the list, right?
I know them very well.
Lust, greed, anger. Lust, greed, anger. You know, things which people in the regular world, they think, oh, very good. Cultivating lust, cultivating greed, cultivating anger and ego. And what are the other 3? Madness is one.
Yeah, madness, envy, and delusion is usually how they're translated.
And delusion, yeah, we had the delusion one. So this is the crazy mind, and the intelligence must help that, and the intelligence needs good food, and hence our sadhana of regular reading, hearing, chanting. It's not a mechanical thing, it's a thing to help us in this, help the intelligence get proper food to control the mind. Otherwise, we are like beast, or even less than beast. Beast has some restriction of what he can eat, when he sleeps, so many things. When he mates, beasts generally have like restriction on all these built into them. So when man is full of all these things, then he's worse than beast without any restriction. Yes, maybe
yes,
shall
yes,
continue that?
And Guru,
Go ahead, Nrsimha.
I was just going to say, Guru Maharaj says in the description of this verse in the end of Golden Volcano, when he does the Śrī Śikṣāṣṭakam, and there's like a chapter for this verse, or maybe not a chapter, but in that chapter, all the verses. And then he says, humility means humility to the sadhu, or to the guru, to the saint, not humility to the gunda and the tiger and all these things. So to your point, Maharaj, that we need a starting point of reference in the form of good advice to give us a context as to what humility is, or what submission or chastity to which thing is going to be our standard of humility, because the world will come to the people's point in the class that are questioning, or, you know, you gave the example, people raise their hand and object. But the world will come and put so many demands on us that are unhealthy for us and for others. And humility to those is not obviously the intention. So we need that starting point of advice or guidance, and then we have that as a target, and then we try to measure ourselves in relation to those things. We're humble to those things. We're tolerant in pursuit of those things, and then that will give us sort of the standpoint when someone, if we're out in the street chanting and then someone drives by and they yell out the window, "Shut up!" That's like our humility, our obligation isn't to them. So we have to have some target of what humility, tolerance, all these things should be measured against. And so hearing from the Vaishnavas, hearing their example, seeing their example, hearing their advice, we try to use that as our point of reference. And then, yes, the environment will fight back, other people will fight back, our own mind will fight back, but we'll have some standard that we try for, and then it will be more meaningful.
And Guru Maharaj also, he told, and it is recorded in one of the sermons books, I believe, that where Guru Maharaj said, our tolerance will be for our things about ourselves. We cannot tolerate when something is being done like an insult to the Vaishnavas, etc. But for ourselves, Guru Maharaj is saying, we will not raise a finger in defense of our ego and our reputation and all these other things. We will not raise a finger. We will tolerate. Okay, Krishna is allowing this to come. This also is a matter. So yes, the standard of tolerance, and it is not to tolerate nonsense against Vaishnavas, Guru, the deity, the temple, etc. Not that we just sit back, oh look, someone's stealing the donation box. Oh, I don't tolerate. This is not tolerance, and we know this. Gurudev, you see Gurudev's life. He wanted somebody with him who can stand up to the challenges that came from certain sections. I mean, I'm not talking about the last time, months and while of his pastimes, but I mean, throughout Gurudev's time in the mat, many challenges coming from the environment, but he wants someone to be able to face those challenges for the protection of the mat and the devotees, etc. And Guru Maharaj's reputation. Yes, Divya Shakti Didi. Yes, speak. Yes, please speak.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes.
Oh, wow, and I have no, okay, well, I do. I wanted to say two things, and one was about, it just came to me just now about the chanting. We're supposed to be chanting with humility, tolerance, and giving honor to others, right? And so that is a very interesting thing to hold on to. And I just jotted this down, that we have no, there's no insult to others. It's like I was saying earlier that I have a tendency to get angry when I can't be tolerant. So how do we get through the fact of tolerating nonsense, or tolerating craziness, or just tolerating something that you think is just BS? It's just, this is insane, but you have to keep tolerating it. And sometimes it makes my heart hard. I had mentioned this before. And how do I get through that? How do I get through that? Like I think Kelly was saying, to always see, the good in others and their, their intent. So how do we not want to be like the supreme controller and try to want to change the situation for Guru and Gauranga, and at the same time, you know what I'm saying, everybody? how do you get through this? How do you just keep tolerating something that doesn't change? And you have to know, I guess I have to know that it's me that has to change, not the environment. Of course, we know that too. Sometimes it's very difficult. So maybe you can help me on that.
Okay. So who hasn't spoken? Govinda Nandini, David Assey, would you like to give a bit of feedback? We have many things, all of us have got things to tolerate in the world. What is that? What is that key? Can you give a little insight from your own thought?
I can certainly try. I've been thinking a lot about Chinmoy Prabhu kind of mentioning how to tolerate our mind and how to apply these principles to ourselves and our mind. And I think that this is actually what Divya Shakti Didi is talking about. This is something I struggle with myself all the time. And I like to constantly try to remind myself various quotes like, my religion is finding fault with myself. The environment is always favorable. If I see some fault in the environment, it means that there's some internal adjustment in my own vision that I need to make. And so for me, when I am attempting to apply humility, tolerance, and respect, I have to remember that I am part and parcel of Krishna himself, and that I also need to be tolerant and respectful when these emotions and feelings are arising within myself, and understand to, you know, these are symptoms that are arising and they are not who I am, but they are happening for a reason. And so I take a step back and try to observe them and tolerate what I'm experiencing, and understand that there is a situation arising and the way that I'm reacting isn't favorable. So I can kind of learn to consider how I'm thinking and what I'm feeling, and adjust that, and try to remember what helps me is embracing the Lord's guardianship and remembering, you know, having faith in his protection. So if everything is happening according to the Lord's will, you know, not a blade of grass moves without Krishna's knowledge and, you know, will behind it, then in these moments that I'm really struggling with my own emotions, I can remember that there's obviously a limitation on my subjective perspective and my interpretation of what's going on. And part of being Krishna consciousness, or aspiring to become Krishna conscious, is to that means the greater consciousness that can harmonize everything. So I'm obviously disconnected and coming from a separate, limited perspective. I'm not seeing the greater picture that is all good, that everything is happening in a harmonious way. So I just try to remember all of these things and how they connect back together. I'm not sure if that's helpful at all, but that's sort of what I try to do.
Jane, yes. Any comment from another? Is Katie Koller Krishna Mohini Didi?
Can you hear me?
I can.
My microphone is not very good on the computer.
It's not very good, you're right.
I have the same problem, Divya Shakti. The same problem as you have. But when I remember one time hearing the class from Goswami Maharaj, and he was talking about Srila Maharaj instructing that none of us are innocent. We are all culprits. And we betrayed our Lord. And if we can stop blaming anybody for what's coming our way, our days in this world are numbered. Our days in the material world are numbered. But as long as we want to blame somebody else for these things that are coming to us, then we'll be here for a long time. So I try to always remember that.
Okay, Krishna Mohini Didi, your microphone, it is true, it is not working well, but out of that, I think we could understand that you are stressing that we are, from somebody, maybe Guru Maharaj or Gurudev or something you read, I couldn't hear that part, but to say that we are not innocent, we are culprits. And it is the environment that we have earned. So we must understand we are culprits. We are not innocent. and therefore to tolerate the environment. It's come as our reaction. Many thanks. Thank you for contributing. And by the way, I sent in the chat a file, but it wasn't actually such a good file. Means I saw that the layout was a little wrong. So I'm sending another PDF file of tṛṇād sunīchena with the word by word. So well, this can be helpful for us in memorizing it, and also, again, like we did with hariḥ, hariḥ, Krishna, to catch the word by word, so we don't just repeat it, but we can feel it as we say it. So yes, please, I'm sending that in a moment. I'm just, I am mouseless.
I only have four people. I'm unmuted. Can you hear?
Yes, yes, we can hear you. Speak, Divya Shakti.
Oh. Anyway, this is all so beautiful. Everybody has given so many things that we've all heard so many times. It's just when you're in that moment to put things into practice, you know, so it doesn't affect your mood of service. Because you want to have the proper mood of service, and that's really important. You know, not to do service in an angry mood. These things, and you want to do things with affection. And, you know, we've heard all these things so many times from, you know, everybody is speaking so beautifully. And I'm just so, I have such a hard time with tolerance, but I am so much trying to tolerate, and people have to tolerate me. And I think about that a lot. That, you know, people have to tolerate me, and I'm not, you know, the sweetest person on the planet.
Oh yeah, you're very hard to tolerate.
Anyway,
yeah.
I did mention the mood of service. When we can do all these things, then our mood of service becomes more quality, and that's what we want. We want our service to be accepted, right? So if we can do these things, then our service will be accepted, and hopefully, and we can please Gurudev. So to remember these principles is very important, and I'm really grateful. Thank you all for reminding me. I have the worst memory in the world, but you know, all these things are in our hearts, and we just have to, you know, chant it over and over again. It's like chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. I did have another question, but I think I'm taking too much time. Am I?
You're muted, Maharaj.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm listening for you, and I don't have my earplugs on.
No problem.
Am I?
I will have to go very soon myself, but what we maybe can do at this point is we can actually go through the verse. And I think I sent you a wrong file, first a badly formatted file, then the wrong file, maybe some other arti, but now I've sent you tṛṇād sunīchena word for word. And if you do have it, I can show it on the screen too. Then let us just now a couple of times go through tṛṇād sunīchena and have it in our mind.
Marge, though, what about Manamahini? We didn't hear.
Oh, yes, Manamahini, you're there very quietly. Can you hear us?
Well, maybe not there.
Real quick before I just forget, I just wanted to add this. If we do this, if we follow this same model with other verses that we want to discuss, maybe we can post it in the chat or something a couple days before, whenever it's decided, so that everyone, so it's not like on the spot, you know, it's not like a pop quiz type of thing. It's like we can all have it in our mind, and then maybe people feel more comfortable to speak or whatever.
Okay, good point, very good. So right now, shall we go to the verse? And here it is. You can see it on your screen, and I've put it here with the word by word for each of the lines. Tṛṇād api, tṛṇād api, then even downtrodden grass. Sunīchena, feeling oneself very low. So tṛṇād api, sunīchena, downtrodden grass, feeling oneself lower. Sunīchena. Niche we know is below. We hear this in Bengal all the time. Taror, eva or api, like taror, eva, sahiṣṇunā, by being tolerant. Haro, the tree. So taro, eva, sahiṣṇunā, amāninā, mānadena, amāninā, not accepting respect. Mānadena, giving respect to others. Kīrtanīyaḥ, sadā, hariḥ. Kirtan, always to chant. So we can try to remember when we say it repeatedly, what we are saying. tṛṇād api sunīchena. Taror, eva, normally we're saying taror, eva, sahiṣṇunā. Sahiṣṇunā, just being tolerant. Taror, eva, sahiṣṇunā. Amāninā, mānadena. Kīrtanīyaḥ sadā hariḥ. tṛṇād api sunīchena. Taror, eva, sahiṣṇunā. Amāninā, mānadena. Kīrtanīyaḥ sadā hariḥ. Okay? This you can download, copy, and just if we can become familiar with this, it is very good. All right. So yes, anything from anybody. Manamohini, were you trying to come in? I saw your microphone came off, but we didn't hear anything from you. Maybe not. And Bill, is Bill a devotee? Salt Lake City. Bill, if you're there, you can reveal your inner identity and mention something if you wish. Okay? And Jai Gauranga, we know where he is. And another plane. The horizontal plane, vertical plane, horizontal plane. And Divya Shakti is eager to share something with us. So you want to share something, is it Divya?
Just making a mess of this. Anyway, I wanted to ask questions about the Gayatri mantra, because we know the Gayatri mantra is the flute song of the Lord, and he is attracting everyone to come to him. And, you know, the gopis, they drop everything and they come running. So, you know, when we're chanting our Gayatri mantra, I wanted to ask about that.
Okay, Divya, from my side.
I wanted to ask also about, you know, the women, we don't get the first line, and the first line is like the Gayatri mantra. So I also wanted to ask about that.
Okay, from my side, Divya, I think this is for another time rather than today.
That's my questions.
Okay, so from my side, I will need to go. This is for another time rather than today. But I can give you something to read from Revealed Truth. And it's Gurudev very much giving inspiration for chanting our Gayatri. What is in this Gayatri? And he's referring to there the Kama Gayatri, which we are all getting. There's only one line which we're not getting for the ladies, one line which is different. And this Guru Maharaj supported everything. It is for maintaining the formality. The Kama Gayatri is the Gayatri. Can other people hear me? So somebody can tell Divya afterwards. But the Kama Gayatri is the Gayatri here that Gurudev is describing. And I can say, if you go to the Revealed Truth, Anyway, it's chapter number 7. And now it's a little while. Oh, mysterious depth. Mysterious depth. In revealed truth. And if you read from there, I've read this book repeatedly, but this stood out to me that, oh yes, I read it before, but this time it was like something, everything's ever fresh. So I can suggest in the meantime, you can read this, and it's page number 155 in the printed edition, and 155 in the edition that you'll get off if you go to sesmat.com, books, click, then PDF books, just go down to Revealed Truth, you can get the book. This will be helpful. But I need to go, it's 6 o'clock here, and we have a morning program. But we can't get as close with the devotees here as we can with you. We have to stay 2 meters apart from each other. So, with your permission, I'm going to slip away today, and we have our newcomers coming. Dandavat Prabhu. Good to have you with us. But I'm just leaving at this point, I'm afraid. I'm going to the program which is happening here. But my embrace to you all, my affection to you all, and may this continue. And can you please consult with Govinda Nandini? She's like coordinating everything. And if you have some suggestion for next week, maybe in whatever group thing that Govinda Nandini, you are sharing this link for the Zoom, just you can maybe first of all consult with me a little bit, so we select one topic, maybe this topic of the Gayatri, I do not know, and then we can consider that for the next event. And now this is a regular program, and the next time is, you can say, Govinda Nandini?
Is Saturday at 3 is next time.
All right. So with your permission, I'll take your leave, but I'll leave from the meeting. You can be together, and I'll continue in my physical life here with the devotees, as it were, but it is all heart by heart. All right, please excuse. Dandavat pranam, vanchakalpatarubhyascha, kripa sindhubhya evacha, patitanam pavanebhyo, vaishnavebhyo, namo namaha. Jai Srila Guru Maharaj ki jai, Jai Srila Gurudev ki jai, our Rupanuga Guru Vaga ki jai, Śrī Chaitanya Saraswati Acharya Brinda ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Please excuse me and continue.
Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj ki jai.
I am to go.